Welcome back to the Growth Nexus podcast. In this episode, we're diving into the evolving world of B2B digital marketing with Vahbiz Cooper, the powerhouse behind influencer strategy and employment advocacy at Demandbase. While a lot of influencer marketing feels stale or forced, especially in B2B, Vahbiz is flipping the script. And in this episode, she breaks down how her team is humanizing their brand, building real relationships with both internal as well as external influencers, and how using authenticity and even humor can drive serious engagement. We talk about how to spot the right creators. Hint, it's not all about follower count. Why employee voices are often your most valuable brand advocates, and what happens when you stop scripting everything and let creators do their best work. So if you're tired of copy and paste social strategies and you want to build real traction with content that connects, this episode will challenge your assumptions and maybe even give you a fresh approach.
All right, welcome back to the Growth Nexus podcast. I'm very excited today. Our guest is Vahbiz. She is the digital marketing manager for Demandbase. I'm gonna let her give a brief introduction, and then we're gonna get into our conversation. So give us a quick intro.
Thanks for having me. I'm Vahbiz. I take care of the influencer marketing and employee advocacy here at Demandbase. I've been working with them for 4 years, and I'm one of those few who really enjoy my job. So yeah, you won't find me complaining.
So when we previously, met and kind of talked about the podcast, one of the things that really intrigued me was how you guys are leveraging influencer marketing. Influencer marketing has been around for a while, and there's some people that do it very well, but there's a lot of people who are doing it very poorly. So can you tell us a little bit about how you've leveraged it specifically in the B2B space?
So I think the very basic thing what we started when we started was, we picked out people based on the type of content that they are posting on LinkedIn versus the number of followers. So that is like a big mistake that people who start off with influencer marketing,
Mm.
especially in the B2B space, they only see follower. And sometimes it's like I wouldn't say that you should completely ignore that matrix. Like it's a good matrix to keep your eye on, but it shouldn't be like the one. You should also see what kind of people are engaging with the content that the influencers posting, and are like, even if they have engagement, are those people really your audience? You wouldn't want somebody who is posting about like sales and like random stuff like that, and people are not like engaging with them.
Right.
Another thing I feel like, if you see somebody who's just recently started posting good content, but hasn't like got the proper engagement yet, don't just discard them. Like keep them on the back burner, because if like it's tricky sometimes, the LinkedIn and all of the other algorithms. So it's not like, oh, this person has just like 2 likes for now, but maybe they've just started, or maybe it's like not a great week for them, or there can be like endless reasons. So don't like just discard it, keep them on the back burner. And also, we've observed that sometimes, they're like influencers with good titles, and they work at good companies, and their followers are good enough to be like our ICPs, but the content they post is like really random. Like, oh, it's Monday, I had like a mocha coffee. Like, I mean, are you really gonna be posting about us someday in all of those random posts? And it would just like be very evident that it's like, a paid sponsorship. So yeah, I think these are the things that one needs to be really careful, when they start out with influencer marketing, and be patient as well, because it really takes time to show, the ROIs and all of the good side of it. It's usually like, oh, it's like a trending activity, but eventually you'll figure out that it's much more.
Yeah. I think I like that take
Yeah.
on it. Like being in the digital space as long as I have, I've kind of seen the rise of influencer marketing in the digital world. And sometimes it can be, for lack of a better, very just stale and plastic, right? It just doesn't feel very real. And I don't think it's getting better in that space. And then now you've got people who are just like automating everything with like you know, a, an AI video creator, a social post creator. and you can straight tell, as a consumer, who's real and who's not, and who's being authentic and who's not. So what steps have you guys taken to make sure that it remains really authentic and real when it comes to promoting Demandbase?
Yeah, I think we have eventually learned to be a little picky about our influencers. Like, not anyone and everyone like hits the list, which was something we used to do when we started off, and the influencer marketing was introduced in the B2B side of things. But now, as we've grown and learned, we have started to be picky with these people, and uh, we have also started to tell them that it's fine if they mention that this is like a paid sponsorship, or we are like sponsoring your video. So even the audience knows that, like, this is like a paid interaction. And one main thing that I learned, like, I wouldn't say like the hard way, but like through a lot of hurdles, is let the influencer do what they know to do. Like, do not tell them to the T, like, hey, this is the word that you have to use, and this is the script, and you need to wear this colored shirt and everything. Like, and I was definitely guilty of doing that when we started out. But eventually it's like, they know their audience, they know what kind of content suits them, and they need to be comfortable as well. So once they're comfortable, it's like it just flows naturally. Like, if I go
Yeah.
back and see the videos that our previous influencers have done, it was more like uptight. There were a lot of like takes, and it was a little messy. But now it's like, okay, we want you to promote, let's say, this particular solution, and you decide what you want to do. And we have got such amazing content back. And there are like a few influencers who are humor based. So we try to understand like the market, and we saw that humor brings in, like, you can relate to it. It brings
Right.
in that warmth, that,
Yeah.
yeah, I faced this thing. So the connection is instant when there's humor. And then we've also seen that, like, influencer X, like, they will reach out to like our influencer Y and be like, hey, I saw this video, we should do like a collab, next time when they're promoting. And
Yeah.
then we ensure that, there's a collab that's done, and you get more valuable content when, like, there are two minds. Um, and it just looks fun. It looks neat. It doesn't look like, oh, they're like forcing something. And they bring in their own experience as well,
Yeah.
into like the video and the content. So that just adds that authentic part versus like, oh, this is the script, this is what you have to say, and yeah, and then that's done, sort of, and we will post it, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And I love that approach, like in a world where it's just easy to automate this part of, branding and business. And let's face it, there are so many different signals that even, while it's not directly impacting search does look at these types of social signals and in the content and building
Yeah.
your brand equity and the language models. Like, it's important to have your brand out there. And it takes time. Like, it's so funny. Like, yesterday I got another ad for, like, a new, not a new, but an AI tool for social. And, the guy's bragging it. I spend $0 a month on my social budget, and, it's super easy. You just automate everything. And then I loved our conversation
Yep.
previous, and then what you're saying now is like, no, let's take a human approach. Like, if these people look natural, they come out and just are honest, like, hey, I'm getting paid to do this, but I still think this is a really good solution. Um, and then and even the humor aspect, which is so funny because there's a lot of people in business that are like, we can't be funny. We can't have humor in
Yeah.
business, and so stuck up in like at the end of the day, these are people looking for solutions. And I'll tell you, I love memes. I love humor. I love, that's what moves me towards, feeling comfortable. Like you said, it makes that connection that they're like, I feel that pain. Um, and I think that's so refreshing to me to hear, because sometimes, you just see all this stuff and you're like, honestly, I've like abandoned a lot of social platforms because I'm just so sick of like the junk. And it's nice to see brands that are like not afraid to be human. And And because of that, you're seeing better numbers than you were before, right? So can you share a little bit of like how that has been impacted from a business sense as well?
Yeah. Ever since we started, humanizing the brand, we started realizing that, our engagement rates have like been better. We are getting like more comments on our posts. And like you rightly pointed, like, people are selling to people. It's not like two logos are talking at the end of the day.
Right.
And you know what? Yeah. And when you go to like a brand page, like any brand page, it's definitely a little serious. Like, oh, we are having like this event, or this is like, our latest podcast, or this is like the blog you need to read. And in just between all of that, you find like this post that is just lighthearted, and you just like relate to it instantly. That is actually what's gonna like connect. And
Yeah.
let's say like characters as well. We have seen like a huge engagement rate in carousels, because there's only so much you can fill into it. Like you wouldn't have like a 13-page carousel. It's just
Right.
bite sized. And that's what people really want at the end of the day.
Right.
And when like a person out there, like you have a face, um, like either like there's one face representing the brand, or there's just somebody out there. You can listen to them, you can, see them. It's just like your senses are more activated when you're watching. This is like our latest blog, or this is like an event that we're having. So once you're like reaching out and connecting to like the senses of the people, you're definitely going to see like more comments, more likes, more people like reaching out. Also, when we do these influencer lists, like our most famous one is in collaboration with a woman in sales, we actually like see the maximum amount of comments on that, because we're like recognizing somebody there, like their hard work that they've put in through years, and they just like get really surprised. And we don't leave it at that. We're like, oh, like you've selected, and oh, thank you. We go back and we tell them like, you deserved a spot here because they did. And that's the reason why like you're on the list, versus just like, oh, like there are like 3 people who've commented, and you just leave it at that. Because you don't want like an influencer relationship just for that particular list, or just for that particular campaign. You want to like have long-term partnerships with them. Whether they purchase the product or not is like secondary, but you want that bond to get like created. So somewhere down the line, at least they have like demand base at the back of their minds, like whenever that opportunity arises. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so cool, and like I said, I love the process because I'll reiterate myself, it can be so stale, and I have, as I went back and looked at the content and the way that you guys are publishing it, like, um, I'm not even somebody that necessarily needs that service, but I love the content, and so much of it's relatable still to me, like, the different pains, I'm like, it's relatable to me, but it's in a different industry, but then it builds trust with
Yeah.
your brand. It builds trust with the audience, and then the audience, like, let's say I don't even need the service, but I could go, "Oh, I know somebody you can use if I've got a client or I've got somebody else." Why? Because you've built trust with me. You've built authenticity with me. I feel like I'm being treated like a human. You said, the steps to humanize your brand, and I think that is so, essential in today's world. The companies that are gonna win in search, the companies that are gonna win in social, the companies that are gonna win in the new area of language models, like, you have to build brand equity. You have to build brand value, and it's not gonna be in the old ways of, like, just throwing a lot of money at ads or, like, building a bunch of backlinks. It's taking
Yeah.
this long game approach, and I know it's taken you a while to build this, um, but it's been worth it, right? Like, it's like, oh, hard work is still worth it. Like, there's no just shortcuts for everything. We like to look at people's highlights, right? Like, social media, well, that's always one of the things, right? It's just people's highlights, and you're like, "Oh, that was so easy." It's like, "No, I've been doing this for years, and, like, now I'm getting that ROI." So, and I also like too, it's like businesses, like we were talking about people, it's not 2 logos talking. And I'm starting to even think, I'm like, "Man, that's what a great idea, like, concept." It's not. It's 2 human beings trying to find a solution and which one makes the most sense. Um, yeah, I just think that's such a refreshing approach to social, especially in the B2B market, because there's a lot of trends right now that I'm just like, I just ignore and swipe past. But those ones that provide value, like
Yeah.
if I think of the people I follow, those that are providing value, even the ones that maybe I don't necessarily fully agree with on all their concepts, but it makes me think and it makes me kind of go, I don't know if I would do it that way, but if he's using that,
Yeah.
maybe there's something I can still learn. And I think that's important for businesses to think about. How do we continue these conversations, use the human side, allow the people we're partnering with to be themselves, which is go figure, right? We want people to be themselves, and not have to control every aspect of
Yeah.
the campaign. I love that. I really think that's cool. Um, Man, yeah, I got so many ideas stirring in my head. I think the stuff you're doing is cool because we've we've tried the social stuff, and now I'm always like, I don't know what's working, and now hearing some of the things that you've done, it makes a lot of sense, and I hope other people, I'm sure they're listening to this, go, wow, that's really smart. Um, so you've done a lot of trial and error. You've done a lot of. How do you? I'm just curious. How do you keep persisting in these paths when maybe you're not getting the results you find? How have you like kind of gone? All right, but what else can we try?
Yeah, I think the most important thing here is we just experiment. Like, sometimes it's also like the timings of the campaigns or like the timings of when everything like goes out. There are like these strategies which we've tried, at the start and they work fantastic, but they're not working anymore. So I feel like you need to like not be afraid because eventually it's not just Demandbase making these lists. There are like million other companies out there making these lists. So you need to keep experimenting as to why would somebody want to be on your list? Like, oh my God, I want to be on Demandbase's list versus like, oh, Demandbase just added me on their list because I'm so cool. So it needs to be more of like, oh, like they selected me. Like they need to feel special. And I think we again like we do get a little picky with our, like on who we add on these lists, and we do monitor them for like months on end and see the content, and it's like a whole process. But yeah, I feel like it is about what you're creating for that, like for that list. What is that list going to actually represent? Is it just like giving random people shout outs and then you're never gonna be in touch with them? You just ask them to post something because like you like highlighted them, and that's that. Or how do you want that relationship to go? And most of the times we see that people like they get back to us, and we'll and always ask questions to them as well, like, hey, do you want to be like a do you want to write a guest blog for us? Do you want to be on our podcast? Like, is there somebody that you've met, like, let's say at an event that we can connect you and you guys can just like chat randomly? So, what is it that we can offer differently that others won't be offering? And just keep experimenting in that space. And I feel like always try and, like talk to people as much as you can. Internal employees, external people, because sometimes your ideas are, limited. And sometimes you're just doing the same thing over and over again. You involuntarily start wearing like false blinkers. And you kind of need somebody at times to like, shake those things off. Like, hey, listen, like there's something beyond this that you can do. And sometimes you feel like, okay, I don't know if this is really gonna work. And it's fine to like doubt that. But I feel like it's equally important to give that idea a chance, unless it's like really expensive and cutting off budgets. But yeah, I mean, go out there and give that idea a chance. And if there's anything related to swag or like gamification that happens, those people are often overlooked. You just tell them like, hey, we want you to send this influencer this thing, and they just do it. But I have come to realize that once you start talking to them as well, they are geniuses and they have such amazing ideas as well. which sometimes I'm like, how did this guy even think of this? Like, it didn't strike me.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I feel like that's how you like learn through the whole process, and that's how you better each campaign. Some campaigns just don't work, and sometimes there isn't much to learn from why it didn't work, but that is still like it's still your campaign, so you have to own the failure as well, and definitely go ahead and try to find why it didn't work. But I wouldn't say like stress over it much, but yeah, still own that. Like it's still yours. So own it and be like, okay, we'll try something different next time. But
Yeah.
don't just like brush it off under the carpet and just focus on the laurels of the ones that did really well. Because both of them are equally important.
Yeah. Oh, that's so wise too, and that's something that we've always stressed, like, here internally, like, if the data looks bad, we have to report that. Like, we have to give realistic, like, records of what is happening and try to figure it out, and then sometimes the answer is, "I don't know." And I don't think
Yeah.
we live in a world where people are comfortable saying, "I don't know." Say, "I don't know, it's on me. We're gonna try something else," you know? And it's funny how much that even builds trust, like, internally and with clients, and, when you go, "Yeah, I mean, we looked at the data, this should have worked, it didn't work. I don't know. We're gonna try something different." Not brushing it off like you said, I think that's so wise. So if
Yeah.
somebody was getting ready to start, let's say or maybe they're doing social and it's not working, maybe they're trying influencer and they're just like, it's not working for them. What would be, one or two encouragements that you could share, to help them kind of persist or shift their direction?
Yeah, I think first is see what content you're posting out. Are you really posting like humanizing content, or is the content like super serious and you're like telling the person exactly what to do and having like super professional videos all the time? And second, I would say is influencers are not always outside the organization. Like, of course, they're important for sure, but also focus on the influencers that are inside your
Mm,
organization. It's like your employees. And sometimes I've seen that, they are like the best people because they're using your product,
right.
especially like the salespeople. They're literally using your product to do the things, and they know everything about it, the ins and the outs. So don't just focus on those that are outside. See if there's an employee who's interested in doing like a video content or speaking very naturally about what the product is. And it's good to like focus on professionalism while doing the video shoots and other things. But it's like, it's fine if there is like a casual tone in the video, or, there's some casual things going on versus like, oh, this person has to be like dressed in like the best clothing ever and get this thing done. Um, they can, if they are of that personality, they can also like, add humor while they're speaking about the content. And yeah, you can also experiment where you've heard about like a problem which like the product had, and like a funny story of how like the engineering team or anybody like developed it, made it better, and like now the problem doesn't exist. So
Mm,
finding creative ways to like showcase your brand and or like your product. These are the things that the external guys won't be able to do,
right,
because I mean you guys on the field.
right,
So it shouldn't all be like, oh, these are the only people talking and these are like silent.
right. No, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's and, it also builds, like, internal, like, in clout, like, the people, like, you know,
Yeah.
they like their company, they wanna showcase their company. If they're happy there, like, you clearly love what you do and you love the brand you work for, so why wouldn't you want to, like, so I think that's cool. Well, I just wanna say thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I've loved this conversation. I've loved getting to meet you, and, I look forward to maybe having some more conversations again in the future. So if somebody wants to connect with you, where would they find you?
LinkedIn, feel free to reach out to me. I usually reply within 24 hours. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.